where did it happen? Did it happen in front of your kids at the bus stop?
They were actually waiting while my kids got on the bus, so they made sure my kids saw it happen. That's how depraved these individuals are. And I hope you all realize that now. I'm here right now because I'm exposing corruption. I'm exposing what really happened to John O'Keefe and the powerful and well-connected people who murdered him and cover up his murder. And this is what the state does to you when you do that. But several months from now, it will not be me standing on these courthouse steps. It will be the so-called victims. That's who will be here. Because ultimately justice will prevail and truth will prevail, and they will never shut me up. They will never, ever, ever stop me from reporting the truth about what happened to John O'Keefe.
Have you made $5 million off of this?
What an absurd and ridiculous. I wish. No, I have not made $5 million off of this.
How much have you made?
I have no idea. How much you make?
No,
How much you make? How much you make? I'm a reporter too. How much you make? Yeah, I don't know.
But I wasn't arrested for it today.
What's up?
You were the one who were arrested.
I was arrested for making money?
No.
Nah, you don't know what you're talking about. Next. Anyone else? Anyone else have any real quick? Who's this joker? Who is this clown? Who's this idiot?
Are you making money off of this?
Are you making money off of this? You're here right now, right?
Yeah,
you're making money off. Oh, he works for Greg Enning's station. He works for WCVB.
What does this mean for the reporting going forward? How do you understand the reporting going forward? Like what the restriction is? What does this mean? Does this mean
believe me, I am looking for an aggressive criminal defense lawyer to navigate because now we know that they're going to try to lock me up for telling the truth and exposing corruption. That's what they're going to try to do. So I am going to get an aggressive criminal defense lawyer. And if anybody's watching right now, I don't know who I'm going to pick yet, but we are going to mount a loud, vociferous defense.
Was that a public appointed lawyer that you hadn't had today? Or was
that was the duty status lawyer, the guy that's in the courthouse.
So what the special prosecutor said.
You don't need to beg for money. You've got an army behind
you.
You're
not just reporting the news, harassment. What do you say to that?
Reporting the news is not harassment. Asking questions is not harassment. You guys all heard. You all heard what they read out loud today. And by the way, I was arrested by that guy right there, Lieutenant Brian Tully. One of the people I've been exposing. The man who signed all of those fraudulent police reports that we've now exposed for being lies. He had the audacity to come to my house and put me in handcuffs today. I'm not scared of him, and I will not be silenced, and I will be steadfast in keeping on with this mission to expose the real killers of John O'Keefe.
Do they serve a search warrant in your house too?
Yes.
Do you know what they grabbed from your house? Did they pull anything out?
I have no idea. So.
Are you going to do anything differently as far as your job?
Everything that you heard in that courtroom today is legal, protected opinion. I would like to point out that 2 weeks ago in this very same courthouse, one of the alleged victims in this matter attempted to get an order in here using those same exact arguments and those same exact quotes. The judge denied it. The judge denied that order in this same exact courthouse 2 weeks ago. So what has changed? What facts of his case have changed? Absolutely nothing. This is a gross exercise of state power. This is what fascism looks like. And as journalists, we should all be concerned that this is what they do. They also told me that every single person who came to the peaceful protest rolling rally in Canton on July 22nd, one of the things that has led to these charges, every single person in there is now under investigation. Hundreds of innocent people are under investigation, and they cannot arrest us all. Maybe they can.
Going in today, you mentioned something about a Ford SUV.
Yeah, so a Ford Edge. According to Lucky Loughran, the man who plowed 34 Fairview Road that day, at 2:30 a.m., he drove by Brian Albert's house, and there was no body on the front lawn. He said he would have seen a body had it been there. We know this because he was interviewed by Trooper Yuri Buchanek and one of the alleged quote-unquote victims in this case. According to Mr. Loughran, 30 minutes later at 3 a.m., he noticed that a Ford Edge was parked outside directly where John O'Keefe's body would later be found. 2 months later, here we are. Nothing has been done to find out who was driving the Ford Edge that was parked next to where a dead Boston police officer was found. Nothing. And this is what they're wasting their time with. Me. There is a man who murdered a Boston cop out there, and they're doing nothing about it. And they're coming after the only journalist who's actually reporting what happened. And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
And if I had to be another person to stand up, if I think, after really going through this, and looking at the files and looking at the case, if I really feel that Karen Reed didn't do this and I have to be a voice that stands up and helps, I will.
We are expecting to learn more about the allegations against the girlfriend of a Boston police officer who was found unresponsive in the snow Saturday morning. I-Team sources say Karen Reed was in a relationship with John O'Keefe. She's facing charges including motor vehicle homicide and manslaughter.
We're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Now, just be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
It was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Karen Reed's not going to fold. Karen Reed's not going to give up. Defense team's not going to quit. The Free Karen Reed movement is going to continue. We will continue to raise funds for her. We will continue to do standouts across Massachusetts, across the nation, across the world to let everybody know what's going on here in the state of Massachusetts, the corruption. And we will continue to get the word out there. Believe me. Believe me. All right, everybody. Welcome back into Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media channel. We were impromptu. I'm at home in the corner of my room here. But I wanted to get a live in tonight because there's a video that literally been sent to me probably by about 100 people. I saw it all over Twitter today, and I want to run through this. And we've been seeing a lot of videos coming out of this channel. It's BN Trouble 31, and this gentleman actually did a little bit of an experiment to show what would actually happen if a human arm would hit the same style Lexus taillight of Karen Reed's SUV. And I pretty much already knew what I was going to see before I even turned the video on. And I'm so glad that he didn't make, like, I'm glad that he got an actual, and I can't think of the material it's made out of, but almost like a gelatin arm with the bone structure inside of it, exactly something that like the Mythbusters would do or have done on their program to debunk things. They've used this gelatinized material, and they've put like human skulls inside of it. And I can't think of the product name for it, and it might come to me as we go through the show here. So ballistics gel, great. There it is. I knew someone would get it there. It would come to me. Thank you. So what we're gonna do is just kind of go through this. I want to kind of walk through this, but before we can get there, we have to kind of go back and see how we got there. And I want to compare because I'm going to play the Trooper Paul testimony of, how he said John's arm supposedly hit this taillight and shattered it. And it's totally not plausible. I mean, we know this is complete bullshit from the start, but I want to kind of play through this. And I want to ask all of you, all of you that's watching tonight here, what is the one thing what is the one thing that the Commonwealth is completely afraid of right now? Or let me say it that way and see if someone can get it. And if I don't get it, I will add a little bit more of a clue to what I'm getting at. What is the one thing that the Commonwealth is absolutely afraid of right now that will seal this case soup to nuts? Soup to nuts. Darcy's got it. Exactly. ARCA. We've heard they've been fighting ARCA. They don't want ARCA in. I'm going to keep fighting them out. And they still, they're going to have a voir dire on Monday with ARCA. So you're all smart cookies. You've been watching and you understand. Let's play this clip here from the first trial. From the first trial. Let me pull my screen up here. Present, damn it. Let me add this up. First trial. And I'm going to back up just a little bit here. Crash daddies.
Like damaged by either striking Mr. O'Keefe in the head or the arm.
Objection.
Sustained.
Can we punch?
Yes.
Thank you, Sophie.
You are
Throwing it
muted.
out. All right, they're going to have a sidebar here. I'm going to speed up. And let's go. They come back. First trial. ARCA testimony. Well, we hope the jury will pay attention this time. Here we go.
You are unmuted.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Last question, Doctor. In your expert opinion, based on all your testing, is the damage to the taillight that you saw consistent with striking a human head?
No.
In your expert opinion, is the damage to the taillight consistent with striking a human arm?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have.
And that's
All right,
it.
jurors, we will take our morning recess.
That's exactly what Hank and the Commonwealth are afraid of right now. Okay, let's rewind again. First trial, Trooper Paul's testimony, and then I'm going to play this video here of this experiment that this gentleman did with the same style taillight, used a ballistics gel arm, and I knew exactly the results. And we've talked about this. I've had Todd on the show. We've totally gone through Trooper Paul's testimony 1,000 times. The injuries don't line up to John O'Keefe's injuries. His arm basically would have got tore off his body. 25 miles an hour when you watch this video is pretty damn fast. Pretty damn fast. All right, let's pull up Trooper Paul. We're going to go through this again, and let's hear his theory of how the taillight broke into 47 magical pieces, got sprinkled all over Canton, Massachusetts, and how the injuries supposedly happened to Officer John O'Keefe. We're going to get the pirouette. It's beautiful stuff. Let me do this really quick. Let's see. The Goodmans, thank you so much. Gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much for gifting that membership. And Krista Ray's been a member for 3 months. She said, I'm so excited for this. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Donna's just sent in a $10 super chat. Said, for all that you do, free Karen Reed. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I have, yes, that's right, Dark Cloud. Pieces found for over 3 weeks. The Sprinkle Fairy, right? The Sprinkle Fairy came along. The Tail Dust Fairy came along. And you know, going back to this, Donna, we're going to have some awesome programming through the entire trial. We have some great theme nights coming along. I cannot wait for tomorrow night for Friday Night Heat. And guess what? I have a special guest that's going to join us tomorrow night. I'm not going to reveal who it is until we bring them up on panel, but you're going to want to watch. So here we go. Let's go through Trooper Paul here. We'll have a little bit of fun with this, and then we're going to actually play through that video and discuss it of the experimentation, and it's pretty damning. It's pretty damning and just sinks the Commonwealth's theory and Trooper Paul's theory. Here we go. I'm going to just speed this up for time purposes here.
On June 9th, 2022, you were asked by a grand jury whether you knew or had done any scientific testing to determine the distance a body would actually travel struck by a vehicle. Remember that?
Not that specifically. Not in that way.
Do you remember answering that you had not, based, I'm just paraphrasing, that you had not done you hadn't finished your report yet?
Why don't you show him? He said he didn't remember it that way.
I mean, he's nervous. Just Noivus Nelly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smash that like button when you come in. Again, if you've just
Take a look
joined,
at,
you're going through Trooper Paul's testimony of the theory of how he said John O'Keefe sustained the injuries to his arm and to his head. And then we're going to actually show through this video that actually popped up today, this experimentation video of the broken taillight. And they actually used a ballistics gel like arm that has a bone structure through it. So we'll be able to see what that did when this experimentation happened. All right, here we go.
Middle of the page. Your answer starts at about line 12, but the question above it is probably informative.
Oh, we love microdots. We love microdots here.
You have that in mind?
Yep.
Yes.
You were asked, does that remind you that you were asked by a grand juror if you could calculate how far a body would move
I heard about that.
having been struck by a vehicle?
Yes.
And you indicated, quote, yeah, there's certain calculations we can do with that, would figure out if you say if the car backed up, hit somebody, and then they go a certain amount of distance, and it's based on miles per hour, the speed of the vehicle, the striking vehicle, and stuff. You're saying that?
Yes.
What did you mean by stuff?
I don't know.
You said that the calculations would be based on miles per hour and stuff. Did you ever do any stuff to test that? The grand jury's question.
No, we cannot calculate anything from this collision.
Say that one more time.
We cannot calculate anything from this collision.
Who's we?
I mean, I'm sorry, me, the role me.
Well, you know John O'Keefe's weight, right?
What's that?
You know John O'Keefe's weight, 217 pounds, right?
Yes.
Did you know that?
I don't know his weight, no.
You know the weight of the vehicle?
And that's a big detail in calculating an accident scene. And you keep in mind, this is someone that never even went to the accident scene. He just reconstructed the accident scene by looking at a diagram. That's it. Didn't actually go and do, photographs or measurements or, went over any of the details of John O'Keefe's body. Didn't do any of that and just came up with the theory of the pirouette theory. All right, here we go.
Yes.
What's the weight of the vehicle? Gross weight.
What's the gross weight?
Yeah.
I think it's approximately 7,300 pounds.
You're here.
Were you able to calculate the mass of the vehicle?
I did not calculate the mass of the vehicle.
Well, you told the grand jury that you were planning on doing that kind of stuff to calculate how far a person would travel being struck at that speed with a car of that weight. You didn't do those calculations?
No, because the calculations would vastly underestimate the speed of the vehicle.
You testified, again, my report isn't done yet. I'm going to look into it. I'm looking into all that stuff, end quote, correct?
Yes.
There's that word again.
Is that word again?
It's been more than 2 years since that statement at the grand jury. Is your report finished?
Yes, it is.
Did you engage in any of those calculations?
I looked into it. This type of collision I would not be able to use the formulas for this type of collision.
Well, let's talk about those formulas. How would you calculate how far a body at rest would travel after being struck by an object in motion? How would you calculate that?
In pedestrian collisions, I use the Searle formula, Searle throw formula.
What formula?
Searle.
What does that mean?
It's a type of formula that would use for a calculation of post-impact speeds for pedestrians.
That includes certain principles of physics to calculate that, right?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by certain forms of physics?
There would be physics calculations that would be required to figure out how far a body at rest would move, having been struck by an object in motion.
Right.
That's a basic principle.
Yeah, I guess you could say though.
All right. Can you describe for the jurors exactly what calculations you would need to employ to determine how far a body at rest would travel?
I'm going to pause this real quick. It's funny, Lauren, that you said that because we talked about this on my show last night. I had attorney Nan Gallagher on. I had retired Mass State Police Todd McGee on, and we talked about this. And I said I always felt like Trooper Paul was the guy that Michael Morsi and Proctor grabbed in the hallway, threw him in a room, threw that spotlight on him like you would see in an old movie when they're interrogating the witness, like an old 40s, 30 or 40s movie, and they have the spotlight on him, and they're like, you're gonna do this, and they're just back painting him into the corner like we need you, and you're gonna be our guy. That's what I always felt like Trooper Paul was.
Having been struck by an object in motion.
So in this scenario, in this collision, it's more of a side swipe. So he did not sustain, he did not get enough speed of the vehicle post impact with the vehicle to be able calculations. His center of mass was offset from the vehicle. So we would vastly underestimate his speed. So that's why I did not do a formula. If he was more in line with behind the vehicle, he would have been projected forward, and using that projection forward, he would have done to get more closer to the actual speed of the vehicle there in that post-impact travels.
Well, that presumes a couple of things, Paul. That presumes that he was quote unquote sideswiped, right?
Presumed?
Presumed by you. You didn't see how he was hit, did you?
Based on the evidence, it appeared to be a side swipe.
That's your opinion.
That's disregarding the evidence.
You're saying that the principles of physics as we know them today, in modern mathematics, is thwarted by a sideswipe?
Objection.
Is that what you're saying?
It's the calculations that are out there. You can get a speed, it'll just underestimate the speed.
You would have to know what the initial momentum of the object is that's in motion, correct?
Of what object?
The truck. Paul.
I would have to know that speed.
Yeah, you'd have to know what the initial momentum is, not speed, momentum. There's a difference.
Okay.
Right? Would you agree with that?
No.
You wouldn't have to calculate what the initial momentum is of the object in motion to determine the distance of the body at rest would move?
Well, now in that sense, are we talking about trying to find the speed of the vehicle? That's usually what we're trying to do.
Right. Okay. Well, let's put the speed of the vehicle aside. Let's talk about initial momentum. What's the formula for
part of the gang? Lieber says, I'm torn between feeling sorry for him and wondering if he's part of the gang. He's clearly part of the problem because he's complicit and he's not a leader for sure. He's not screaming alpha male. Absolutely. But look, he is part of the plan to put Karen Reed behind bars for the rest of her life. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We're here to fight back against that. And this guy had an opportunity. Any of these witnesses had an opportunity to get up on the stand and tell the truth. And they didn't do that. They stuck with their plan. And the plan is to put Karen Reed behind bars for the rest of her life. Don't feel bad for these people. Don't feel bad for these people. He's in on it. He's in on it.
For calculating initial momentum?
There's different types of momentum formulas.
Well, there's actually one type of momentum formula. It's to calculate momentum.
Objection.
Sustained.
To calculate momentum, there is a singular.
So sustained. Ask it differently.
Isn't it true, Trooper Paul, that there is a singular calculation for determining initial momentum? That is P equals M times V, where P is the momentum. You're solving for that. M is mass. You multiply that by velocity. Is that right? Pretty simple.
You wouldn't use that in a pedestrian collision.
Oh, because the pedestrian's somehow magically out of the realm of physics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is the pedestrian out of the realm of physics and calculations?
No, it's the weight differential between the pedestrian and the vehicle.
So if the vehicle is too heavy and the body is too light, you can't calculate the initial momentum of the vehicle?
Yes.
Where'd you learn that?
It's in my math class. We don't use momentum for vehicle to vehicle. The crash reconstruction classes I have taken.
Got it. Would you need to apply the theory of conservation of momentum in calculating these data?
Do I need to calculate the conservation of momentum?
Of conservation of momentum.
Yes.
You know what that is? There's an equation for that as well, right?
Yes.
You know what that is?
Not off the top of my head, but yes.
Based on the basic principles of physics, is the total momentum of the collision greater or less than the total momentum after the collision? Total momentum before the collision, is it greater or less than the total momentum after the collision? Basic question.
What type of collision?
Paul, they're exactly equal in all respects under the principles of physics, right? That's the theory of the conservation of momentum. Momentum doesn't change. So you
Yes.
transferred one
Me
from one
neither.
body to another,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Why didn't you say that to the jurors?
Objection.
Sustained.
Trooper Paul, if you were qualified to quote, look into all this stuff, you would probably know these answers, wouldn't you?
Objection.
Sustained.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any other calculations that you need to figure out the stuff that you're talking to about the
Stuff.
grand jury?
Objection.
Sustained.
How about calculating the final velocity of the objects after?
And keep in mind as well too now, and I've talked about this, and I talked about this last night. You know, the advantage now, advantage defense. I always say this: advantage defense. Now, what they have is all this prior testimony that they can dig up. Karen Reed 1.0. They can talk about the grand jury testimony. There might be depositions that were taken. I know Todd's talked about that as well. So they have all this testimony. They can go back and refer. And what did you see that with? You saw it with Kerry Roberts, and she melted down on the stand yesterday. Absolute meltdown on the stand. And they're going to get these people. I mean, they're going to... I'm muted. I'm muted? There's no way. Y'all can hear me? Let's make sure everybody can hear me. No, I'm muted. That's not muted. I'm muted or I'm not muted. Okay, you can hear me. All right. All right. I was confused. All right, let's go back here.
Collision. That be important?
What objects?
That would be John O'Keefe's body, sir. Object
I don't.
that you claim was flying through the air 30 feet.
Okay,
Objection.
sustained.
How about calculating the displacement using kinematic equations? Would you be able to do that?
The displacement of the body.
In order to calculate how far the body would move based on the mass of the object striking the body, could you use displacement using kinematic equations?
So, like I said before, the side swipe, he would not have gotten 100% of the vehicle, 100% of the speed of the striking vehicle. It would have vastly underestimated this vehicle. You couldn't hit a person and side swipe them, spin them off to the side, and have that and get speed from those calculations.
So you're saying that the discipline of physics cannot figure out how far John O'Keefe's body would move, but you personally figured out that he would have flown now somewhat, or been projected somewhat 30 feet.
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you saying that the principles of physics are incapable of determining with the proper calculations how far John O'Keefe's body would have moved given the collision at issue?
Objection.
Is that what you're saying, Trooper?
No.
Okay, next question.
Well, you just said because it was a sideswipe, all these
Oh,
calculations,
boy.
these physics calculations are inapplicable, right?
But I'm saying it would underestimate the speed and the distance.
The truth is, Trooper Paul, you have no idea what all these physics calculations mean, do you?
Objection.
Sustained.
You've not been trained in physics formally, have you?
Yes.
You have been,
It's
Oh.
it's incorporated into the classes.
right? You had a few classes that use the word physics, but you haven't been formally trained in physics, have
Objection.
Sustained.
you? You haven't been formally trained in kinematics, correct?
It's in the aspects of all their crash reconstruction classes.
You haven't been formally trained and hold no degrees in biomechanics, do you?
I do not have a degree in biomechanics.
In fact, basically what you did in this case was calculated emission cycles. And you got those wrong, right?
Objection.
Sustained. Come on, Mr. Jackson, ask the appropriate part of the question, you'll get it.
The answer is not in that
Let
bottle.
me ask you this. Based on your reconstruction, nearly 2-year investigation, exactly how was that taillight shattered?
Here we go.
Explain it to us.
How does the taillight? What do you? It gets so the taillight in this case was shattered.
This is important now. We're gonna listen to this. We're gonna listen to the recreation, the reconstruction from Trooper Paul, and then we're gonna play through this actual experimental video today, and we'll see if things line up to this theory. All right, here we go.
When it was struck John O'Keefe's arm.
Exactly what part of his arm?
It, based on what I saw for his injuries, was from the upper part of his arm down.
Was his arm out? It just struck the arm like a hinge? Was it in front of him? You did the reconstruction?
It look,
Here's exactly how his body was positioned when he was struck by that.
so it looks like his arm was more kind of like this. If I can try to get that.
You're indicating out by his side, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the taillight would have struck his arm, right?
Yes.
Not his torso.
Yes.
Okay. So the full mass, the full weight of that truck hit him basically at the elbow. Is that right?
No,
Missing his
no.
torso.
I said it's from upper part of the arm
Right,
down.
like
Yeah.
elbow and the biceps.
I didn't see anything that shows an indication that this lower torso was struck, but
Okay. So his torso,
it's not saying it could not have been a possibility, but I just didn't see anything.
so his torso was spared from being hit, but the arm took the brunt, the full force of the vehicle, correct?
Like arm and shoulder, yes.
Okay. And you said he then did a spin,
Uh-oh.
like a sort of a pirouette.
He got spun around possibly the way he struck, it looked like it could have turned around counterclockwise.
Okay. So if he turns around counterclockwise, is he turning around in the air counterclockwise?
Yes, initially.
So he gets hit on the upper biceps, shoulder area, and down to the forearm, right?
Yes.
By an unbroken.
Right there. I want to back up because I want you all to remember this. Right
In
here.
the air counterclockwise.
Yes, initially.
So he gets hit.
25 miles an hour. And you're going to see it in this video. 25 miles an hour. And they actually drive forward. They don't drive backwards. I don't know if that would make a difference. I mean, it's same motion. You're still at 25 miles an hour. If you got hit, and you're going to see it in this video with this ballistics arm, why did John's arm or elbow not break? It would have snapped like a toothpick. All right, let's see the pirouette. It never gets old. It's probably one of the best things I've ever seen in a trial. It's literally one of the best things I've ever seen in a trial. All right, here we go.
Upper biceps, shoulder area, and down to the forearm, right?
Yes.
By an unbroken taillight, right?
Yes.
In other words, it's nice and smooth. No shards of plastic or anything broken at the time that it made contact with his arm, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how does his arm get up there?
Because when his arm struck the taillight then cracked. And as the car driving past him, the taillight could scratch it.
Got it. So
Got it.
He gets hit by the car, not his torso, just the arm. The taillight cracks. And as it passes by, his arm stays with it long enough to get striations, those scratches that you see, those lacerations. I'm sorry, those abrasions, right?
In a sense, yes.
And at the same time, he does a pirouette and flies 30 feet to his final point of rest.
I don't know if he did a pirouette.
Well, I'm using the word pirouette. He spun around.
He started rotating counterclockwise. I don't know how far he ran counterclockwise, but he started to rotate. According to that, would push him to rotate counterclockwise. Well, now he went counterclockwise all the way to his back toward the ground. It seems like the most likely possibility.
Did you account for the fact that his arm is on a hinge?
Uh-oh.
Is what? Say again?
Did you account for the fact in this scenario that you just told the jurors that his arm is on a hinge?
On a hinge.
Shoulder?
Okay.
Okay, so arm got hit. Did his arm just swing?
I said arm and shoulder area, so his arm could have been considered part of it.
Even if his shoulder got upper,
Okay.
you're pointing to his upper biceps.
Mhm.
Right? There's no injuries on his shoulder, not a single one, not even a bruise, right?
Like I said, it looked like to me it was from up here. I don't know how far I can up back here, but it was up here.
Well,
So
you're the one that talked about his injuries on his arm.
yes.
That's limited to about mid biceps, about mid forearm, correct?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes.
No injuries on the shoulder, no injuries on the torso, no injuries on the ribs, no injuries on the back, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
So your theory is he got hit on the arm, took the brunt of the force from the taillight on the arm, stayed with the vehicle long enough, the taillight to explode, basically, to shatter. And these striations get on his arm, abrasions. Does a pirouette, spin, counterclockwise, and flies 30 feet in the air to his point of rest.
Yeah, I have to probably go faster than that though.
All right. He's like, all right, you're gonna stick with that. All right.
I actually said he hit his head on a curb.
I said that's one of the possibilities of when you look at the roadway as he gets spun around kind of clockwise. It's a possibility that the curb is there. Any blunt force object on the ground, as the ground is pretty blunt.
Well, except you're
Let me get to this. MMG. Look at that dog. Look at that dog. Is that a border collie or an Aussie? It's probably, it looks like a border collie. Tell me if that's a border collie. MMG in Richmond, $5. Thank you so much. Says, Brian, I joined a little late today, but your beard looks incredible. Well, thank you. This is like, let's see. January, February. It's like 4 months of growth. Wait till we get to April next year. This sucker will be down to here. What kind of dog is that? Is that a border collie? Border Collie or mix that looks like one, you'd be surprised. Well, we'll see what it is. Yes, Aka. Thank you, though, for the $5. All right. I want to see AJ go. The spin, pirouette spin, corrects himself.
Yeah, have to probably go faster than that, though.
I thought you said he hit his head on the curb.
I said that's one of the possibilities of when you look at the roadway.
I gotta go back.
I see it.
Then these striations get on his arm. Abrasions. Does a pirouette, spin, counterclockwise. He flies 30 feet in the air to his point of rest.
Love it.
Yeah, have to probably go faster than that, though.
I thought you said he hit his head on the curb.
I said that's one of the possibilities of when you look at the roadway. As he gets spun around kind of clockwise, it's a possibility that the curb is there. Any blunt force object on the ground the ground is pretty blunt.
Well, except in your scenario that you just told us, you flew through the air onto the light dusting of snow, grass, and dirt.
I didn't say through the air.
Say that again?
I didn't say he got thrown through the air.
Okay, I'll use your word. You got projected.
Projected just doesn't mean it's not incorporating just the throw. Project just means you get pushed forward. There's two parts of that. There's the air, then there's the ground. Like I said earlier, the tumbling, the rolling, whatever.
The tumbling.
That part of the crash would happen. Projecting is just what we call what happens to a pedestrian post impact with a crash.
Okay, so a couple questions. If his arm, elbow,
right, Warren,
grunt, that entire impact, how do you account for the fact that he didn't suffer a broken bone?
Mm-hmm. There it is.
How do you account for the fact that he didn't have a fracture?
Objection.
Sustained.
How do you account for the fact that he didn't even have a bruise on the arm?
Objection.
That's sustained.
Irreproachable.
Yes.
All right, that's it. All right, let's get to this video. Let's look to this recreation video. This is going to be interesting. I don't know if you've all seen this, but it's been going around, and I want to thank Mary actually for sending it to me today. All right, and this is by BN Trouble 31. I will drop the link in the comment sections after this. And I don't know if you've all seen this, but we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it. Here we go.
Arm versus Taillight.
All right, so what he did was he built looks like a mechanism to support the same exact style taillight that Karen Reed would have on her her Lexus. Okay, so it's secure, nice metal. What am I thinking here? It's like a brace, you know. He's got this, and it's affixed like it would be affixed to the car. What he's going to do is he's going to hold out a ballistics gel arm that actually has fake bones inside of it, and you're going to see what this would actually do to an arm at 25 miles an hour. It's pretty eye-opening. I mean, it's what I expected. It's totally what I expected. I sent this to Todd today. It goes totally what I would expected. Oh, okay, cool. Border Collie. I love Border Collies. They're such great dogs. Thank you, though. Thank you, Krista. I missed it. All right, here we go.
Miles per hour.
25 miles an hour. It's pretty fast.
$25-mile-an-hour arm versus Taillight. Here we go.
I'll play the last video. Okay. This is fast. Okay, first of all, how the fuck would Karen, if Karen hit John with her Lexus, how would she even, that's fast. And think, he's driving forward. He's not even going in reverse up a hill on a 30-degree grade, nighttime, no visibility, and magic. Oh, and there's a curve there too, because I've been down to that road a million times. There's no way that she would have achieved this speed. And I kind of wish he would have measured out the, what is it, 72 feet? Or was it 62 or 72? 62 feet. He should have measured that out and started from there. Yeah, and yeah, there's no way.
Right on this corner piece, I hit about right here. But if I would have gotten a higher hit, it might not have busted it at all. It would have cracked it, but it wouldn't have broke that whole section off the bottom. But I've got the bottom reinforced. I've got the sides reinforced. I've got the top reinforced.
Pretty ingenious.
Might do another one just because I've got the arm and I'm here.
All right, ballistic shell arm. Look at this.
Look at the bone that's broken.
Look at the bone. Snap.
I broke both arms, or both bones in.
So the radius.
Arm. He's got a cracked, broken elbow. His elbow is broken. Those two bones in the forearm.
So this arm here, I know on the outside is called the radius because I've broken it before. I don't know what the larger bone is. Maybe there's a nurse in the room that would know. What are the two bones in your arm? We'll ask Google. The radius and the, is it ulna? Did I say that right? U-L-N-A, ulna and radius. And I know I've broken the radius before because I did that skateboarding. So I know that bone. Look at this. Broke the elbow and broke both bones in the, you guys are all quick and smart. Look how smart you all are. I love it. This is it's crazy. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's expected, right? It's the graphics right there.
It was just from the impact. His wrist is broken. See the bone dislodged right there? That's gone. That knuckle's damaged.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
But the fractures.
And this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see, and again, I'll drop this video after the live. So if anybody wants to watch this without my commentary, because I'm going to do a lot of stopping and talking here, but this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something by ARCA. And I hope that they had the opportunity to do this because I don't know if they'd be able to do this but I wanted to see this, an experiment like this with ballistics gel. I saw that a million times on Mythbusters. They did it all the time. And this is great. This is a really great video.
Right here.
Yeah, exactly, Alan.
Those are definitely from the impact. And the broken
Look
elbow.
At the elbow's mashed.
Definitely from the impact. And the wrist is definitely from the impact. How broken that is. That is two pieces.
Come on, camera, focus.
And the elbow. Get in focus. The elbow. It's definitely broken.
I don't like doing live.
Fingernails are dirty because of them welding this contraption up for a couple of days now. I don't know where. My fingers are dirty. But the arm is clearly wounded. This is
wounded, it's mashed.
You got hit by Alexis Taillight. And I'm not talking about you're going to knock the lens out of it completely, break the diffusers, break the back housing, break that chrome trim that is the strongest piece of the taillight, and not have severe damage.
Yeah, exactly.
To your arm. That would be an impact.
I don't see the bites either. Where are the bites? Where are the claw marks? Yeah, Lexuses don't have teeth. Exactly. There was no collision, only collusion. I love it. Yeah, exactly, Susan. Funny, I don't see the any light bites. I think she meant dog bites. All right, here we go.
More consistent with 50 miles per hour. And we know that didn't happen either because the arm would be completely obliterated. Now, let's go over the damage or lack of damage to the taillight. As you can see, the taillight is not much damage. It cracked the bottom housing, just cracked it. I got 4 big pieces off
Now, the only thing that I'm a little concerned about, and I don't know, and I would like to know this for the actual experiment. Is this an OME, original manufacturer's equipment taillight, or is it like one of those ones that he bought off, like you can buy them off eBay? Because that would make a huge difference as well too. I mean, let's just face it, the ones on eBay are trash. I mean, it's just trash. Okay, so it is OME. Perfect. Okay, so okay, great. That is a huge difference in this too, because I would assume all the ones from Lexus are going to be a lot better built. They're going to use better materials and plastics. Okay, cool. All right, great. So you guys have all been on this. You've been watching it. Cool. And someone said play the previous video to this too. All right, let's keep playing here.
Taillight. 4 pieces of taillight. 4 big, thick pieces of taillight. I thought maybe 2 would break off, but it actually got 4.
I'll play it after this. Yeah, okay. Yep, I will. I haven't seen that one either.
Look how thick it is.
Exactly. Not
that is a thick
67 or
taillight.
72 or whatever the hell. 47 pieces.
I actually really thought maybe 2 would break off of it, but I knew 46 or 47, however many it is today. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew it would do more damage to the arm than the actual taillight.
Wow.
And only 1 cut mark in the sleeve. So, yeah.
That's all. It didn't scratch the side piece.
Yep.
It didn't break that. It didn't break this. It didn't break any of the diffusers. It cracked. Little bitty crack on that diffuser. Nothing else on the taillight is broken. That was a hard 25-mile-an-hour hit. The inside part of it's intact. The top housing's intact. It's got a scratch on it. That's probably from me welding up the rig. But the taillight is largely intact. That's what I would expect from a Lexus taillight. I knew that it would knock 1 or 2 pieces off. I didn't think it would do 4.
Yeah, he's right.
I knew it would do 1 or 2.
I mean, it's the thing is, you guys have to understand these taillights, you know, the plastic that is used and the way that these are constructed, is that, you know, the way that they're constructed is to take the abuse of the I went on dial-up for a second there. Did you see that? My brain just stopped. My point I was getting to is they use these materials because it has to take the brunt of the road. I mean, you got to think our headlights and taillights are constantly pelted with rocks and sticks and road debris. It's made to withstand all that. You know, it's made to withstand things on the highway when you're driving 65, 75, 85 miles an hour. You know, it might catch a rock. That's what these are designed to do. And Caroline says, yeah, to Brian's point, should have began at 62 foot. And it would have been neat to kind of see if he could even have got to 25 miles an hour from there. I'm pretty sure he probably could have, but I bet you it wouldn't reach that speed until he got to the very, very end. So it's, you know, it may be different coming in at 25 miles an hour than when you finally reach that point when you get to the ballistics arm. So yeah, I mean, this was, you know, listen, it's not in a controlled environment. It's not in it, you know, it is a scientific experiment. It's not in a controlled environment. You know, but to me, it's like, look, it would have had significant injuries to John's arm. His arm would have broke 100%. 100%.
I knew the arm would be broken. Nowhere on the arm or the clothing His teeth marks, puncture holes, cuts, slices, abrasions, whatever you want to call them. Let's examine the shirt closely.
I think it's only a little
Because
hole from what I remember, like a little.
Everybody has
Yeah.
seen the video.
Yeah, and this is pretty much what I was trying to get at. Sir Winston says, you know, it's not a perfect experiment, but it gets the job done. Props to him on the gear he bought. Those ballistic arms aren't cheap. Yeah, I imagine they're not. And you know what? I can already tell you this. Lexus taillight ain't cheap either. I think the ones that I looked at were like $1,800 because I was going to buy one and do an experiment on it as well, too. So kudos to him. Kudos to him. All right, here we go.
There's one cut mark in the shirt, and that could have been from hitting the ground. I don't know, because there's grass mark right there. But there's only one. The taillight will not bite. The taillight is not going to leave two marks everywhere that there's abrasions or
exactly
deep puncture from teeth wounds on John's arm. There's one, and I don't know what it's from. It wasn't there before, but I would suspect that it was from the impact, but there's only one. There's not 47 pieces of taillight. This, combined with the fact of the other evidence that I have, the case is over. The case needs to be dismissed. People need to be charged to work for Massachusetts State Police, people that work for Canton Police, Boston Police. It's over. The ruse is up.
All right, I think we're just going to get, let's see here. Let me speed up.
It can't happen.
The next taillight is going to be the one that sinks the Commonwealth forever.
Okay, so I think the next video everybody wants to show is it the proof that the taillight was smashed in the Sally port? Is that the one you want me to play? Because I can play that one. I think that's the one. I haven't seen this one. And I just briefly played through this one on my break at work today. So I think this is the one. Okay, yep. All right, cool. I want to see this. I haven't seen this yet. Let's play it. Coming to the light. Love it.
For all of us that live in snow country, knows when you drive your vehicle in the snow.
And I'll drop all these links. I'll drop the link to his channel if anybody wants to watch these videos without my commentary. So if you want to contribute to the cause, something really important, my links are in the description. Absolutely. This is really cool stuff.
And the salt. What happens and what gets on the back of your car. I'll give you a little hint. Salts, little circles of dried salt, calcium chloride, salt brine. When you live in a snow climate, right before a storm, they coat the streets with salt. And then every time a snowplow goes through, they put even more salt on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And when you drive in snow, the wind that goes around your vehicle, underneath it and over it, it creates a vortice in the back of your vehicle. It's kind of like a vacuum cleaner. It sucks the snow up and it deposits the snow onto the back of your vehicle. I'm not talking just a little area. The snow actually coats the whole back of your car. Every nook and cranny gets salt in it, and water, and ice, snow. And when that stuff dries, it leaves those little circles of salt. Just like right here. Now, Karen's vehicle has salt spots all over it.
Oh, wow.
All over the windows, all over
good observation.
All over everything. Look at the water spots.
Oh, yeah.
All over her car.
Good observation.
Except for the inside of the taillight. That is impossible. It cannot be that way. There's no way.
Good observation.
Where are the water spots? There
Oh,
was no
cleaned up it
water
is.
spots at all inside of the taillight. That is,
Yeah, so there you go right there. If this was a true photo of that taillight being taken out, and I'm even looking at it right now, let's just say, yeah, I mean, it's all like cleaned up, like it's all cleaned up. So this makes a lot of sense because it would have those salt deposits all over it. Look how clean it looks.
impossible. That cannot happen.
It's a great
There's only
observation.
one way that is missing. The lens was on it in the Sally port.
Except for one area. Our taillight.
Yep.
Insides had nothing. There is no salt spray inside of our taillight whatsoever. None of this.
Yeah, I mean, even I'm saying is like the outside of it is all cleaned up.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how could that be? Well, there's only one way that could happen. The vehicle was in the Sally port when the taillight lens was broke off. Now, if there was a little crack or a couple of cracks and maybe a couple small pieces missing, there wouldn't have been that much intrusion. But her whole taillight is missing, and she was driving in the snow. She drove that night. She drove that next morning.
Yep, she would have salt all over
several
this.
times that next morning.
This is a great observation.
So it would have covered the whole back of her vehicle, her taillight, the insides of her taillight, the outsides of her taillight. The windows are covered. Everything is covered except for one thing.
He's been up for 24 hours straight.
You guessed it. The taillight. I'll show the pictures, but you can see all of this is perfectly clean.
Yep.
Now we know
Right.
they didn't take the taillight out and clean it for her. We just know that. So what happened? How could that be? Well, there's only one possible way in the whole world that could happen. The car was in the Sally port. The snow was melting off of it.
Yeah.
And since they were more
Because
worried,
essentially, here's where your lens would be, okay? Where you see all this salt here, and I wish I had a better pointer, but right here, right? So if Karen was out driving around, if this was all smashed, like they said, she hits John, she leaves, she's driving around, she drives back, she goes home, then she drives back to Fairview. There would be salt on the road. He's right. All that splash would be here. All that splash would be here. But what did we see when it was inside the Sally port? When we saw that it was all clean, meaning the lens was there, and then they smashed it and took the lens out. This is a great observation. And I'm just surprised that no one even thought of this. I haven't heard anybody bring this up. This makes a good point. Because she drove around and there was salt on the road. So this is what it should have looked like when it was taken out, but it was all clean, meaning the lens was there. It was protecting this inner piece. There was no splash.
about getting the evidence out into the yard, they didn't have time to think logically of what would happen. It just totally slipped someone's mind of what happens when salt dries and water spots. Because, well, for one, they're not that smart. And I've been saying all this time.
No, and they shouldn't clean it because that's evidence. It needs to be taken the way that it was found at a scene or on a vehicle. They should never, ever, ever clean anything. You're wiping it. You're wiping it clean. You don't do that. Guilty people wipe things clean. You know, they wipe fingerprints. But to the point of this is, if Karen's taillight was smashed, she drove around several times that night when this blizzard picked up. So they had been out plowing. There's salt on the road. This is what her taillight should have been looked like when she drove into the Sally Port. But when we saw the videos of the taillight, it was clean. This area where that white lens is was clean, which means the lens was there and intact, and they broke the lens. They doctored the lens inside the Sally Port. This is great video. Some of the simplest things sometimes slip our minds because we overanalyze things sometimes.
If they keep
Making some
going
great
with this
points.
sham trial, more stuff's going
And
to
I
come
hope
out.
the defense sees this and introduces this into when they see, God, that would throw Brennan for a loop, wouldn't it? This would throw Brennan for a loop, and it's such an easy concept. Easy concept. Yeah, now it's 72 feet now. I love it. It just changes all the time. All right, let's play through a little bit more of this. Wow.
I'm tired of hearing Hank's mouth. I'm tired of hearing all these people lying. I'm tired of this whole charade. I'm tired of this corrupt, biased judge. I'm tired of the whole thing.
Thanks, James.
So now,
here's the Karen
of their beginning. And I really hope people go to jail after this. This trial should be stopped immediately. It should be dismissed. Next, we should be having a trial for all of the police officers that were involved in this. There is no taking this back. They can't change the evidence. There is no way that her light would look pristine on all of the cameras and all of the footage that they took. I've been sitting on this for a long time. That's what a taillight looks like when it hasn't had any snow in it. See the pristine colors of it? Sorry, my fingernails have epoxy underneath them from fixing this to the bracketry. But there's no water spots on this because this hasn't been open to the elements.
Wow. Decline, thank you so much. $5 says the world is watching free Karen Reed. This is crazy. This is a crazy video.
All of the pieces of Karen's taillight, the broken pieces, I didn't see any spots on none of that.
Yep.
But more importantly, when the lab actually took the pictures of the taillight, it is perfectly clean, just like this.
That means
when it should have looked just like that.
Yep.
You can't explain that away. This is the final nail in the coffin. They can't argue this. They can't reason with this. They can't change this. All of the pictures are out there. The arm versus taillight thing. I was trying to give them a warning. And I was actually kind of throwing them off the case a little bit as well. But now it's done. Once this hits everybody's desk, it's over. ARCA did not test an arm against the taillight because they knew it was impossible. They knew the taillight is stronger than the arm. John's arm would have been broken in several places, just like in my last video. 47 pieces cannot come off of a taillight with a single hit. I proved that in a video a month ago or so. I hit the taillight 14 times with the fake arm and only got 19 pieces of taillight. Now, ARCA even said that they didn't do any kind of test with the arm or any kind of collision with a human because they knew there was no collision with a human. It didn't hit John's head. It didn't hit his ear. It didn't hit his foot. It didn't hit any part of John. All of those bite marks on his arm are from an animal. All of those puncture holes in the shirt are from an animal.
Yep.
Most likely a big dog. the big dog did not lick all of the salt off of the inside of the taillight. It gets in everything, even the back of it would have had salt in it, just like this one does. Our taillight would look just like this. Even the diffuser and all the plastic pieces, everything has salt on it. And that's exactly how her taillight should have looked, if not even worse. The shirt got hit at 25 miles per hour. There's only one slice that didn't go all the way through. It just barely sliced the fabric. Now, I don't know what part did it. I had other footage that I can't get. Still working on trying to get it. I had 3 cameras set up. I only got footage from my 2 B-roll cameras. My main camera, I can't get the footage. It's corrupted somehow. It's still there. I'm still working on it.
Or how about this? When the taillight is brought up in trial, say, if Karen Reed, we know that Karen Reed drove several times throughout the evening. It was snowing. There was salt on the ground. And you're now showing us a taillight that is clean. Why is there not salt inside that taillight where you said that the taillight was broken hours prior to us taking the vehicle, because you said that she hit John and the taillight shattered? There would be splatter, there would be salt up, just like this taillight we're seeing here. Can you explain to me in that photograph why it's clean? If the taillight is missing, like you said, why is it clean and Karen's vehicle has salt all over it in and around the area of the taillight? That's it. There's your question. That's all they got to do. And it's going to be abada, 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 abada. I can guarantee it. All right, let's play a little bit more here. We'll finish this up.
I will upload that when I get it.
Yep, you're right. You're right, boss.
But just look at the taillight. Look at the difference. They want us to believe that a taillight that clean, the one that they've got all the pictures of, they want us to believe that's what her taillight looks like after driving in a snowstorm, when it should look like that. The jig is up.
That's it. This is over.
I know you're going to see this. You knew this all along. You knew this was a farce. I don't know if you're in it just for the money, the fame, or the DA position. But guess what?
We salt here in
you lose.
Massachusetts.
You get none of them. The Commonwealth, you lose.
I can tell you, my car is gray. You go out on a salted day, you sit in that parking lot, and let's say everything melts the next day. My car has white film, those little spots just like that all over it. Yeah, I like this. The jig is up. Right.
People's going to get in trouble. Heads are going to roll. This was a setup from the beginning. Every one of the witnesses, except for Carrie Roberts, she's just a useful idiot. They are all involved. All the main police officers, they are involved. They broke the taillight. As soon as the car pulled into the Sally Port, whoever that was that ran up behind it, which we all know who it was, broke the taillight immediately inside the Sally Port. Or the taillight would have looked just like this. It is impossible. There is no other way the taillight doesn't have salt on the insides of it. So it's done. Everybody share this video. Everybody send it to anybody you know. If anybody has links to somebody on the defense, send it. I don't think I can get it through because it's too late.
I sent them.
Hopefully one of the family members or somebody important will see this and send it to the right people.
I sent it.
But
Don't
this
worry.
has to stop. This has to stop now. This trial is done. It is over with. The evidence is tampered. This is the absolute 100% proof. It is done. There is no way to lie yourself out of this. Bias Bev, give it up. You should have retired a long time ago. You don't have enough sense to be sitting on the bench. Hanky, you should have stayed second fiddle to Lally. Now you're wrapped up in it. But you got plenty of money to get a good defense attorney. You're going to need it, along with all of your police officer corrupt buddies. Now, I'm all for police officers, but I cannot stand a liar. I cannot stand a thief. And I cannot stand somebody taking advantage of somebody else.
Yep. I love this guy. You can tell he's angry.
I'd like to say a whole lot more. I'd like to say harsher words, but I'm not putting foul language on this channel if I can help it. But I sure would like to say some words to some people, starting from the top down. And to me, the top is Bias Bev. And then corrupt Hank and Lally. It's over, guys. It is over. When the news picks this up, it is done. You cannot change the evidence. You screwed up. Proctor, you screwed up. And
yeah, I mean, if he wants to
your
show
other
his
buddy that's in the
face,
Sally Port, he's just as involved. I'm sure there was 3 other people in there. I know they all know what you were doing. You can tell. Everybody was gathered around that taillight. It wasn't just you. And that was not the tow truck driver driving the car into the Sally Port. That was.
I think it's an excellent point for the defense to bring up. I really do. When those clean photos come up, bring this up. Show the rear of Karen's vehicle. Why is there salt all over her vehicle, but there's not salt all up inside this light? And then if they say, well, we cleaned it, then they have something to explain, because you shouldn't be cleaning any evidence. Shouldn't be cleaning any evidence at all.
Cocky. To everyone, share this, like, subscribe. If you have it in your heart, help me out. And you can donate. The links will be in the description. This has costed me probably close to $5,000. But this was the icing on the cake. My videos probably won't get that much traction because everybody's tuned into all the other players watching the trial. But we have to get this one out there because this is the one that's going to end it. This is the absolute proof that everybody was wanting. This is the white knight coming through the door.
Well, we admire you, sir. Thank you.
This is the smoking gun. There is no bigger smoking gun than this. Thank you.
So I will leave the links to his channel down below in the description. And I just did a quick Google search and I asked Google, should evidence ever be cleaned? In general, evidence at a crime scene should not be cleaned, especially not by individuals without proper training and equipment. Cleaning can easily contaminate or destroy valuable evidence, potentially hindering a crime investigation or even leading to legal issues. So there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. So, wow, great videos. Great videos. And I will leave the link down in the description. And I need everybody that comes to this video, everybody that needs to come to this video, share those links, put them on all your social media, tell your friends. I've shared them with all the appropriate people that I can. And great live. I want to get to a couple Vemos that came through. I'm sorry, I got one Venmo from Krista. Thank you so much. She paid me $20 and says free Karen Reed. I got kind of I don't know if this is, I didn't understand this, but I got a PayPal, and I'll read the, let's see. I'm going to read their note that they sent to me. And it said, let me go back here. It says, and thank you for the PayPal. Mary sent me $15 and said, how can we not donate to you? And I don't know if that's a typo, but thanks for the $15, Mary. I appreciate it. So that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap up tonight. Again, this was just a quick impromptu from home. I wanted to go through these videos with all of you. I hope you found these to be extremely valuable, and make sure to comment down below. What do you think? What do you think of this experiment? What do you think about the salt on the taillight? I think there's something there. I think that there is something for the defense to use. And if they do see these, bring it up. Bring it up. Let's see. Kit, I'll check it out after the show. Thanks for emailing me. Let's see. Tomorrow night is Friday Night Heat. That's going to be a late show. We're going to go live at about 9 p.m. And I have a special guest that's going to join. So you're going to want to come over there. And then we'll be back on Sunday for the Sunday Super Show. And then next week is Badass, because Monday night, I'll be back live again. I think that's going to be with Todd McGee. And then on Wednesday night at 8 p.m., the first edition of Jess Machado, courtroom correspondent, independent journalist. She's sitting in on the Karen Reed trial, and she is reporting for the Daily Wire right now, writing some article snippets for them and doing some video for them as well. And she will be live with me throughout the trial to give us that inside courtroom reporting, so we know what's actually going on inside the courtroom on these certain days. Mary, thank you so much for the 5. She says, one piece missing when Carrie sentenced it, and Walla, it was all missing. Thank you for the 5. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to head out tomorrow night. We'll see you live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be Friday Night Heat. We're going to go through all the spicy testimony from the week. I appreciate everybody being here. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below after this video post. Let me know what you think, and I will, like I said, I'll leave that that man's channel down in the comment section so you can connect with it. All right, everybody, have a good night. Peace.